Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the TradeXchange Week Ahead webinar. As always, we'll keep this very quick. Just giving it quick right up front. We do have, on the screen what's coming up for next week, but we'll give a quick rundown of last week. Excuse me. So we discussed numerous times through the week that all we are waiting for from Fed Chair Powell was the tone of the speech. And in our opinion, what we got was a hawkish tone that the Fed is committed no matter what on fighting inflation, even at the risk of a potential recession. Also stated that recent inflation data falls far short of what is needed to be seen by the Fed to make them confident inflation is moving lower. With those comments, markets did end the week lower as much as 4% across the board. We also had one other inflationary print last week with the personal income in spending coming in lower than expected, which was positive on the inflation look. The US dollar continues to truck higher as the euro trades at parity. We have not seen a continued period of US dollar euro parity since 2002, and we are watching to see if that continues in the next few weeks. Yield markets as well continue to trade higher with the 10-year yield above 3%. This week, we're waiting on data on employment with the employment report released on Friday. Comments by Fed Mester over the weekend stated that she will be focused on inflation rather than jobs data for a decision on rates. This week, outside of all the Fed speak, we'll be focusing on a few economic data points, focusing on consumer confidence on Tuesday, ADP employment in Chicago PMI on Wednesday, PMI in the ISM manufacturing on Thursday, and most important, the econ data of employment report on Friday. Seems like a busy week across the board with Fed speak and employment data. With typically one of the slowest weeks coming up, we could see continued volatility following last week's move and expected data and Fed speeches. So taking a peek at this week. Upcoming US and world events, we do have some top earnings this week. We'll be watching Best Buy, Baidu, Big Lots, Chewy, Campbell's Soup, Hewlett Packard, Lululemon. So we do have a few names on watch for this week. When it comes to world events, Monday we have Japan unemployment. Tuesday we'll be watching consumer confidence in the JOLTS job openings. We also have on the European side the Eurozone economic sentiment and Germany CPI. Wednesday we have the watching the ADP employment report. Some Fed speakers scheduled. We also have Canada GDP, Japan, and China PMI manufacturing. Thursday on our side we have the ISM manufacturing, some more Fed speak, the Eurozone unemployment rate, and Friday, the all-important employment report, as well as motor vehicle sales and the Eurozone PPI. Company events for the week, as you can see, not that busy of a week regarding shareholder meetings and analyst calls. As always, if you have any comments or concerns, you can always reach out to us at the Ask the Desk in the news desk, and we'll give you some more color commentary. Top conferences for the week, same as well. Not that busy of a week in regards to conferences. As always, members, reach out to us, Ask the Desk, if you have any questions or if anybody has any questions regarding who will be speaking at any of these conferences. Calendar for the week. Monday, pretty dead day. Tuesday, we have some Fed speak of Thomas Barkin and John Williams. Also, we'll be watching some home numbers with the Case-Shiller and the FHFA HPI. In regards to rest of Tuesday, we do have the JOLTS job openings at 10 a.m. Keep in mind, everyone, we always mention this. This was one of the old chair, Fed chair Yellen, one of her most important economic data points was always the JOLTS job openings. So keep an eye and ear on that data. Wednesday, we do have some Fed speakers. We have Loretta Mester, Lori Logan. First time I know, excuse me, first time I know a lot of people have heard that new name. And we also have Raphael Bostic. What we'll be watching on Wednesday, ADP employment report, first time in quite a while since they did their retune. We have the Chicago PMI and the EIA petroleum report for all oil traders. It's on Thursday. We have, as always, initial jobless claims. We have your PMI and ISM manufacturing that we'll be keeping a close ear on. Some more home data with construction spending. And we have another Fed speak with Raphael Bostic. On Friday, the all-important employment report. We'll be keeping a close eye on non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate correction. And as always, keeping a close eye on that wage number. Earnings for the week, as always, listed, bolded out some of the big names that we will watch pre-market and after hours. The fear index, currently we are at a fear level, just barely hitting fear, even with that recent weakness that we've been seeing. So right now we have a very fear/neutral mindset on the fear and greed index. Weekly sector performance, as always, with this kind of a week, we're seeing red across the board, 2, 3, 4, 5%, strength only in energy. Industry comparisons, we've been watching a little uptick in the past few weeks. First time we've seen a downtick in quite some time. Target rate probabilities for September. Following Fed Powell's speech on Friday, this 75 basis point did uptick, currently around 60-40% on a 60% side of a 75 basis point hike. Your 10-year constant maturity minus 2-year treasury at a minus spot 3.3. Year-to-date returns for the weekend and last week. Nat gas continues to be the top player, up about 150%. Heating oil saw a nice jump, around 72%. The VIX jumped about 28%, currently up 48% for the year. Crude oil saw an uptick. Corn, coffee, cotton, wheat all saw an uptick this week. Seeing a lot of changes. Coffee was down 4% last week, now up 5.5% over. Wheat was down 2%, now up over 2.5%. So we are seeing a move up in some key commodity plays, which we keep a close eye on moving forward. Your AAII Investor Sentiment Survey. First time in a while, we did see a little downtick on the bullish side and a little uptick on the bearish side. So we'll see how this correlates into next week's trading. Keep in mind, next week is typically one of the slowest weeks, but we'll see what happens with all that economic data and Fed speakers scheduled. Sector outlook, as always, energy and utilities were two of the only ones that were up on the year, but we did see strength continuing in energy, now up 48.8%. No IPO lockup expirations in the week. Expected IPOs, we have BIAF and HPCL. On the FDA calendar side, we do have some names on watch. On FOLD, we do have a PDUFA date for ATGAA, VERV, some data presentations, KOD as well, data presentations, and INCY, a PDUFA date on parsaclisib. Just taking a quick peek at some charts now. As always, we always put a little headline in regards to what we're looking at on a technical basis. As you can see on the SMH, no changes to this week. Once that uptrend range was broken, we did see volatility come back with a test of support levels. We'll be watching the SMH, watching this level of support, and see if we have a continued move to the downside, which could see 215s initial, but 210s key. SPY daily as well. No changes to this chart from last week. Once that uptrend was broken, weakness, and ended on weakness and ending right at support levels. So we're going to keep an eye at this. It was funny, last week we talked about markets hitting, basically every chart was hitting resistance, and we saw what happened this time around on the SPY, we are hitting support levels. Another look at the weekly on the SPYs, basically right at support levels. More commentary in the report. IWM daily on a more technical with moving averages, as well as the VIX weekly. Once that trend was broken, we saw an upside move. Looking at your 10-year yield weekly, we mentioned last week that the uptrend, the downtrend was broken on strength. That strength continued right by that 3-spot 2-level resistance, but ended right by 3% support. So we'll watch this going into next week. Your Russell, basically same thing as well. We mentioned once that uptrend was broken, we could see some volatility, which we do. And we saw that large downtick on Friday, breaking initial support. We'll see how this does tomorrow morning. HYG continues on a technical move to the downside as we see moving averages crossing to negatives. SPY daily as well, another look, but a moving average look. Same thing with your triple Qs. Oil daily, once that downtrend was broken, as we've been mentioning, we saw uptrend continuing, hitting the 95 resistance. 90 is initial support. So our key levels is that 85 support with that 95 resistance. We'll be watching on any of this move to the upside or downside on volume. US dollar, same thing. Seems like it's a pure technical market still. Once that downtrend was broken, upside move continues. Tested resistance, legit test on the resistance level. Broke support. We saw that support break that gave us that downtick, but strength in the afternoon closed right in the middle of that tradable range. That's on the US dollar. Bitcoin continues 25,000 upside, 20,000 downside, waiting for a break on volume on any directional move. We'll keep an eye on this throughout the week. So that's your TradeXchange week ahead webinar. As always, members, if anyone ever has any questions or comments, you can reach out to us via member Ask the Desk, email, or give us a phone call. We'll leave it open for a few seconds in regards to any questions, and then we'll close it up for the week. All right, one quick question. What are we looking at when it comes to the Fed speakers? At this point, it seems like the mindset continues. It's interesting to us, the fact that even when the market was going higher and higher and higher in the past week or so, the Fed commentary continued to be hawkish, yet the markets did not care until they had to with Fed Chair Powell. That commentary was a very hawkish tone, in our opinion, commenting that nothing has changed in regards to their mindset on inflation. They will do whatever they can, whatever they must do to bring down inflation, even if it gives the possibility of a recession. So what we always been saying, keep an eye on commodities. We did see an uptick in commodities as of late. We do have some more data points before the September meeting in regards to inflation. We'll keep an eye on the employment report this Friday in regards to wage inflation, and we'll see how the markets react to any additional comments by the Fed. But what we don't understand is the Fed speakers have been hawkish all along. Their mindset hasn't changed. The mindset of the market has, and clearly it's been in the wrong direction. We'll see what happens this week. And if there's any difference, as always, we'll mention it in the news desk. Want to thank everyone once again for joining us this week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you. If any questions, as always, shoot us a message on Ask the Desk or reach out to us via email. Thank you. Enjoy. TradeXchange out.